All right, we're going to talk about a bigger show that happened on Saturday, and that was the card over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, headlined by Moses Itauma, who knocked out Dillian Whyte in the first round of their heavyweight matchup. And Sergio, we're going to begin there because you said on Friday that if Moses Itauma blew out Dillian Whyte in the same way he's been blowing out the guys he has over the last couple of years, you would believe, you would buy in to the hype that has surrounded Moses Itauma. Well, he did that and then some. Took him a little under 2 minutes to dispatch Dillian Whyte, who up until that point had only been stopped by world title holders or would-be world title holders as well. Your thoughts on Itauma's performance, and are you a believer now that this kid, 20 years old, is the future of the heavyweight division?
Look, I was a believer. I loved what I saw with only a dozen fights under his resume and the way he was knocking out fighters. I just thought it was premature praise comparing him to Mike Tyson simply because of the age, the ambition, the power, and the first round knockouts. But now I'm more than a believer. I'm a fan, and I really do think he's the next coming of something special. And I respect the Mike Tyson comparisons now because if I did a little bit of studying. You say I never study and research. I did a little bit of studying and research for this one. There's a lot of comparisons with Mike Tyson. Not only the first round knockouts. I believe Mike Tyson had 9 out of his first 13 in the first round. Moses Itauma has 8 first round knockouts in 13 fights. Of course, the 20 years old and being young and fighting everybody. But the thing about Itauma is he's already beating world title challengers at only a dozen fights. Marius Vach was one of them. And now Dillian Whyte. Mike Tyson wasn't doing it until his 17th pro fight when he fought Jesse Ferguson. And then from there, 1986 was when everyone knew about Mike Tyson and all eyes were on him. I believe he fought like over 10 times in that year. That was his come out year, 1986. So I see that with Moses Itauma now. I see the power. I see the speed. He's very smart. He's not just, he's a lot different than Mike Tyson. I mean, there's comparisons, but they fight totally different. Mike Tyson had a fight as a 5'10" and a half, 5'11" maybe at most. But he had to use his upper body. He had to fight small. He had to be explosive. He had to He's the only fighter, one of the only fighters that was actually successful fighting square because he could fight you from the orthodox stance or he could turn right-handed. And he was very adept at doing that. And he got away with it because he was so short, compact, and explosive. Itauma doesn't do that. He has footwork. He fights. He's a hybrid of a lot of great things, man. And I love what I'm watching. But it's not just power. It's not just speed. It's not just punch selection. It's his IQ, the way he doesn't smother his attack. And what was the punch that I told you was going to finish the job?
The hook. You did. The hook.
He had the right hook, man. I may have been wrong with calling the over for
a little bit,
but I told
a little bit off.
Right hook. I told you it was going to be that right hook, man, because look, I didn't think he was going to knock him out under 4 because Tyson Fury couldn't do that. I mean, Povetkin couldn't do that. Whoever fought him couldn't do that. But this young kid did it, and he did it sensationally, man. I just got to praise him, got to give him his flowers. I think he's the next coming to something special. If it ain't Mike Tyson, I see the comparisons now, but if it's not him, it's the next something to something special in the UK.
You're right about fighting differently than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, that, like you said, that kind of herky-jerky left to right movement. He's getting inside. He's throwing those power shots. Moses Itauma is a more classical boxer and beats you with footwork, with speed, with technique. He is the full package. And he's not small either. You saw him in the ring, 6'4", a little bit over 6'4". So he's got good size for this weight class. And you mentioned the intelligence. Like, he's a smart kid, and he's got real smart people working with him. Like, Ben Davison had a game plan for that fight, and you heard Itauma in his post-fight interview saying, like, everything that Ben told me Dillian Whyte was going to do is exactly what he did. Like, I was able to figure him out within a minute of this fight. That was the kind of performance that wiped away a lot of the skeptics that might have been out there who might have said like, Dempsey McKeon, he's nothing. Some of these other guys that he's fought, they're nothing. Well, Dillian Whyte, even though he has long past his best days, and I thought his body language, walking to the ring, getting in the ring, when he did that face-off, I remember just saying to myself when I was watching Whyte face off against Itauma there, in that seconds before the bell, he just didn't look like he wanted to be there. He just looked kind of out of it. He started off trying to land some punches, especially with that jab. But, we've seen Dillian Whyte, Sergio, take some good shots from the good punchers. He couldn't take anything from Moses Itauma. Once Moses Itauma hit him and hurt him, that last one kind of grazing right off the top of the head, Dillian Whyte was done. Regardless, though, that was exactly the kind of statement that Moses Itauma needed to make against exactly the right opponent to ultimately do it against. So I think that elevates Moses Itauma significantly in this division. That is a huge, huge win for that young man. Now, it's all about, like, what's that next test, right? Like, is there a test out there? He can't, Sergio, get out of the second round. This was the 9th straight fight that he has not gotten out of the second round. He's got to get some rounds in against somebody. Is there anybody out there outside of the one guy that we'll talk about in a moment, Alexander Usyk, who is the king of the heavyweight division? But is there anybody out there that you think can take Itauma into the middle part, forget the end, the middle stage of a fight?
Yeah, Joseph Parker, but I still think that's a little bit too early for Itauma. Believe it or not, Joseph Parker is an excellent former champion, and he knows how to fight big men. He knows how to handle power. So I still think, no matter how talented Itauma is, I still think Parker's a little bit too much. But I'll throw another name at you. Ergovich, Caballel, guys like that, that are in their 30s already, that have looked a little bit. They looked a little bit vulnerable. They're hittable. They got big power. They're big men. They're 6'5" plus. So Itauma's going to be right there, eye level with them, punching up at them. But I think those are the names that make a lot of sense, especially across the pond, where they're more popular and fighting more. But he mentioned Jermaine Franklin as well. Jermaine Franklin's a tricky boxer. You're bound to get a lot of rounds with guys like Joseph Parker and Jermaine Franklin. Those are two names that I'm positive he goes into the second half of the fight with.
I'm not so positive that Jermaine Franklin gets in the second half. I mean, Jermaine Franklin, who has not fought, as I'm looking at his box rec, since May of 2024 when he beat Devin Vargas. Before that, he was on that 2-fight losing streak where he did go the distance with Dillian. He did go the distance with Anthony Joshua. But he is how old at this point? 30-something? Doesn't say here, but got to be in his 30s.
Well, all these fighters are Caballel, Ergovich,
Well, let me give you my kind of take on those. I think, look, Filip Hrgović is represented by Keith Conley, your guy. I think Keith Conley is more likely to put Filip Hrgović in a fight on the moon than he is putting Hrgović in with Moses Itauma. We're going to get to Hrgović and how he looked in a minute, but I don't see that fight being put together. If you're Joe Parker and you're the interim champion with the WBO, your entire focus right now is on getting that fight with Usyk. We saw the reports over the week that Usyk asked for an extension. If I'm Parker, I give him that extension. I wait because I want that opportunity to become the undisputed champion at heavyweight and not have to mess with Moses Itauma. The right fight, I think, for Itauma is the winner of a fight next month, and that's the fight we got between Jarrell Miller and Michael Hunter. Miller and Hunter, both durable guys, right? Like, Miller's been stopped once, but he was grossly out of shape in that fight against Dave Dubois. Michael Hunter's proven he can face heavy punchers. He knocked out Martin Bakole. He went to a draw with Alexander Povetkin. Like, that winner of that fight is a great opponent. And I think that's an opponent that would be willing to fight Moses Itauma because neither one of those guys really is in line for that Usyk shot, that Usyk payday, or really has the kind of runway to wait for it. Like, they need to take a risk and fight someone like Itauma. So if I'm Frank Warren at Queensberry, I'm looking straight at that weekday fight. What is it? Thursday week fight of the Crawford-Canelo card, where you've got Miller against Hunter. The winner of that fight would be a great opponent. I mean, if it's Jarrell Miller, we know what he can do. Big, durable, throws a ton of punches. Michael Hunter has not gotten a lot of opportunities, kind of bizarrely, over the years, but he knocked out Martin Bakole, and Martin Bakole had a real training camp. Like, he knocked out Martin Bakole for real when Bakole was younger, and the blemishes on his record are against high-level guys. The loss to Usyk, the draw against Povetkin. I think either one of those guys would be a great fit. What do you think?
Michael Hunter is a spoiler. I think you should stay away from him. Why? If you're already this hot, if you're Moses Itauma, and they're doing a great job promoting him, so why are you going to throw him in with
duck Michael Hunter though? Like, you can't avoid Michael Hunter. Like that.
Everyone else has. Why not Itauma?
Well, because Michael Hunter's like 36 years old, and if he gets a win over Jarrell Miller, he's going to have some visibility there, and it becomes a big fight. Like, if you're Itauma and you're 20, like, you can't be. And Frank Warren and everybody in Itauma's team, Ben Davison, they're not going to be leery of Michael Hunter. Like, I like Michael Hunter.
They are, and they should be.
Wow,
Yes,
come
they are, and
on.
they should be. I'd rather him go fight an Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois than a Michael
Why would
Hunter.
Anthony Joshua do that? Like, why would Daniel Dubois
All
do
I'm
that?
saying is, why would they fight a guy that's on the back foot, another Olympian in Hunter, someone that's faced great names? I mean, he went he went the distance with Usyk, I believe. He's given everybody hell.
He did.
Michael Hunter can box, he can fight, he has an Olympic pedigree, and he just doesn't have the representation to get the big fights. But Michael Hunter's the goods, man. He's a champion without a world title. He's one of these fighters that's gonna go down as one of these sad statistics, sad fighters that just was good enough to be a champion, but never got the opportunities to be a champion. Why the hell do you want to open up a door if you're Tina Talma for a guy like that? That no one else has been fighting. Everyone else has been avoiding him, but you at 13 fights wants to give him an opportunity. Slap yourself, Chris
Give him
Mannix.
an opportunity.
Credit.
What are we
They
talking
usually give you
about?
credit with your matchmaking, but this time you're wrong.
He's 37 years old.
Doesn't
And
matter,
you're talking
man. He has
about
no wear and
avoiding
tear.
him?
He has no wear and tear. Michael Hunter has no wear and tear. He's always in the gym. The guy's just relishing. He's salivating for an opportunity like this. No one's going to give it to him. He's that damn good. That guy is the type of guy that you just let go into the sunset and people forget about him. Michael Hunter is one of those
good.
guys.
Okay. That's good. But if Michael Hunter defeats Jarrell Miller, he is going to have more of a profile. That's going to happen during a big fight week. Jarrell Miller would be a big win. If Michael Hunter wins, I think you got to do it. If Jarrell Miller wins, I think it's a no-brainer because you can get Jarrell to talk during that fight week, to sell that fight.
I agree on the Miller one, Mannix. I agree on Big Baby Miller. He's always going to sell a fight, but he's been knocked out already, and he's unreliable. And the guy's failed so many damn PED tests, and they're going to keep giving him.
Look, if he has to, I get that. But if he actually goes through with this fight against Jarrell Miller after having gone through with that fight against Andy Ruiz, a fight that I thought he won, I think he has some marketability left to be squeezed out of him. So I think that's, and both these guys, we're talking about mid to late 30s. I think it's to me, it's the perfect test. Like AJ, sure, I'd love to see that fight. Why would AJ do that?
Yeah,
Daniel
no, you're
Dubois
right.
just got knocked out by Usyk.
Okay.
Why would Dubois do that?
Answer me this. Would Joseph Parker do it?
No,
Hrgovic?
not unless Joseph Parker would do it if Usyk vacated and he had to do it to win the title. Joseph Parker wants to win the heavyweight title. No, Hrgovic, in a million years, like I said, Keith Conley would launch him into orbit before putting him with Moses Itauma right now. Caballero fights everybody, but yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I could see
These are the names. Those are the next step up names. They're big, stiff, strong guys with a name that you could sell in that part of the country, that part of the world. And it makes all the sense in the world because all these guys are highly ranked.
Well, I think Itauma needs to start fighting more over in the UK. We need to start building him up a fan base because that's a guy that's going to be a star for years to come. 20 years old and already looked at as the boogeyman in the heavyweight division. I like him a lot. I think having gone one round, you got to get him back out there before the end of the year. If there's another show in Saudi in December, which there may be, love to see him against the winner of Miller and against and Michael Hunter. I think that is a great fight.